Hey, I'm Lila. I am a commercial photographer based in Sydney, Australia, and today I'm here to talk to you about how I create a studio set in a restaurant or cafe, sometimes while it's open, sometimes in about half a meter squared. Okay, let's get into it. One of the things that I get quite often from the restaurants and cafes that I work for is a request to create a studio look and feel, but on site. You can see some of the images here. When working with restaurants, you have to work on site. At the end of the day, all the produce and the chefs are in the kitchen in the restaurant. So you can't be shooting a studio look from a studio because it's too much work to get all the ingredients sent to you and to have the chef come to you. So what does that mean? Well, it means you need to bring the studio to them. Now, the challenges with this is quite often you're shooting when the restaurant is open. You are shooting on a table out front and you may be having to shoot in a very small, tight location. And the key when it comes to this shooting, because of that, is to shoot small and pack light. I've seen photo shoots where people bring huge modifiers and that's amazing. But if you don't have the space, you've got to work around that. So for me, when I am shooting in a restaurant, I'm generally shooting with one light, two maximum, and I'm generally shooting just with a single umbrella. I'm trying to keep this shot as small and contained as possible. With that umbrella, I'll be shooting with a flash. There is never any cables laying on the ground because we don't have space for that. So again, keep the setup really, really small. The key with making it look like a studio rather than just looking like it's being shot at the restaurant quite often is the backdrops that you use. Again, I try and keep my backdrops small. We're not coming with rolls of paper because we ain't got the space. We are looking at those backdrops that you buy for flat lays, the ones that are just bigger than your A1, A0, you know, the large size, whatever A that is. I'm generally bringing a few different options to the site, depending on the brand's colorways and utilizing them on site, a flat lay, but this also even works up. So I'm either putting some blue tack on a wall to stick it on a wall, or I may even have one on the ground and then someone simply holding one while I shoot a backlit scene. But generally it's really small, really tight, really simple. The way to take it from a colored backdrop just in some random restaurant then really comes down to the way it's styled. This is really important and really important to take the time to set this up right. Having different elements, sometimes with the studio setups we actually bring in different cutlery or napkins, something that they wouldn't normally use within the store to kind of give that elevated feel. Other times we're adding accessories in that have the branding of the company within them just to add a bit of fun elements to it. And the other last important thing I should say is after you've got that styling sorted, your lighting is key. I'm a big fan of strong harsh lighting, strong shadows, but that's just how I shoot. You can also do this with a natural light, but thinking about where your light is or lights is going to make a huge difference and make this look like it was professionally done in a studio. If you don't have lighting, that is totally fine. This setup can be done outdoors, but pay attention to where the light is coming from when you're using it on your backdrop. The last step for me is really just thinking about creativity. I'm going into a restaurant, not thinking about how to set this up in a normal restaurant style. If they want a studio look and feel, I'm really thinking about how I can take this from a restaurant to something that you'd see in a cookbook. How can we bring in different elements to this? How can we showcase the ingredients in a different way? How can we introduce human elements? Quite often we work with models on site and those models will use their hands from top down just to introduce an element of interaction with the food. All of these different small tweaks are what's going to bring the photo from being something that is just a dish in a restaurant to something that's really elevated that looks like it's billboard worthy. Just because you're working on site doesn't mean you have to be limited with your studio. Work tight, work small, bring colored backdrops and really get creative. You would be amazed as to where you can create a studio within a small environment.